what's likely going to happen is renewable energy is probably going to surpass coal in 2025. By 2040, it's going to be almost caught up with natural gas. By 2050, it will possibly be the plurality, if not the majority, of the energy that we use in North America. And by 2100, 80 years from now, we are likely to have almost entirely renewable energy. Not entirely, but getting close, about 80% saturation. 7 generations from now, 140 years, in 2157, we should have complete renewable energy used in North America, if only because we've already burned all our fossil fuel. The other thing that has potential, and this is going to take a while, I want to go back 31 years to Russia. And 31 years ago, in 1986, in Russia, there was a bit of an accident in a place called Chernobyl. The largest nuclear accident in the world. It was terrible, and everyone deserted the place. Now, about 5-10 years ago, they started going back and investigating Chernobyl and seeing what happened. And one of the things that they discovered inside the reactor core was a fungus growing there. And they were baffled because the levels of radiation were, 1, much lower than they had expected given the time that had passed, and 2, still lethal. So they investigated and they found out that this fungus is radiotrophic. It eats radiation. It's being studied by scientists all across the world because this is a breakthrough. It eats radiation. It literally absorbs the radiation and cleans up the area. So this fungus, if it can be reproduced successfully and spread around, will entirely change the game when we're looking at nuclear waste. Because rather than just sealing it in a barrel and waiting several thousand years, you can put it in a storage place with this fungus and wait several dozen years. And rather than having nuclear waste, you'll then end up with inert substances. One of the things that you can do to try and mitigate the whole concept of we have millions of people coming here that we don't have space for is virtual tourism. This includes building a virtual Bruce Peninsula and controlling the intellectual property rights. I told you there was a reason for that. The virtual Bruce Peninsula would be designed very much like you have people walking around with the Google Street View backpacks. So you have someone with a rig, and they do the entire tour of Bruce National Park, Fathoms 5, you put them out in a canoe, all over the place. And that way, you'll be able to integrate sound and sight and eventually smell and even tactile. So you'll be able to feel the water splashing on your face as you paddle around. And you'll be able to integrate this into one solid program and sell it, and you'll be able to get the money from it even though you don't have a single tourist set foot here. And I'm sure a lot of you think that's a great idea. This ties directly into intellectual property rights. Once we get the technology to do virtual tourism, you're going to want to make sure that the copyright, the intellectual property rights for the Bruce Peninsula stays in the Bruce Peninsula. Now, the national park is probably going to have ownership by government, but the rest of the peninsula, that's you guys. So, you guys work with the park. Whoever sets up the first virtual tour is going to have a strong claim on the IP, the intellectual property. So make sure that that stays here. That doesn't go off to Ottawa, that doesn't go off to Toronto, that doesn't go off to Beijing, or whoever it is. And hold on to that because that's profit for you guys. That's money coming in for this area.